As I'm sure you guys know, recently Rich Paul, a personal friend of LeBron James, also his agent, went on Gilbert Arenas' podcast debating LeBron versus Jordan. And if you watched my video on this topic or the actual podcast, you were left dumbfounded by Rich Paul's LeBron GOAT argument. Because quite frankly, it was one of the worst pro-LeBron arguments I've ever seen. As for roughly 10 minutes, Rich Paul was just babbling incoherent nonsense about social media, pressure, deer antlers, and flat out lying about Jordan and his legacy.
But LeBron is the first player to have to deal with a 24/7, 365 news cycle of sports.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I just think LeBron's antlers is in platinum and Michael's may be in gold.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Now, in response to Rich Paul's floundering arguments, myself and others, we just tore him to shreds and were absolutely ruthless. And one former NBA player, also podcaster, who did the same thing was Steven Jackson. Now, Steven Jackson's take on it, he was a little more, I would say, harsh to Rich Paul, calling him a yes man and a guy who, quote, doesn't have his own opinions.
Don't be a yes man. Just because somebody got money doesn't make them right. That is the weakest individual on the planet because they don't have an opinion about nothing. They just doing everything they can to benefit from whoever they're trying to benefit from. They're not going to say what's best for that person. They're not going to say what these people need to hear. They're just going to be a yes man so they can benefit from this person. That's not real love and that's not genuine support. So stay away from yes men and don't be around yes men, bro.
Now, Steven Jackson didn't mention Rich Paul's name directly, but let's just connect the dots. It's pretty obvious. He's talking about Rich Paul being a yes man. And for Steven Jackson, of course, when it comes to basketball takes, NBA debates, I probably disagree with him more than agree with him. But the one thing I do respect about Steven Jackson, when he speaks his mind, has his takes, no matter agree or disagree, I know what Steven Jackson's saying, he actually believes. And he isn't fed talking points or financially motivated to push different narratives. And look, Rich Paul being a yes man, while a pretty big accusation, it would kind of explain his lackluster and downright lousy LeBron argument for him being better than Jordan. Because much like ESPN, Rich Paul is financially motivated and paid to promote LeBron James and push his own narratives. And when it comes to Klutch Sports versus Michael Jordan, kind of the all-out media assault on Jordan's legacy, it's pretty prevalent ever since 2016. As in that year's finals after the Cavaliers won, the first thing Rich Paul said after that championship during the celebration was that, quote, Michael Jordan could never have done that. Pretty telling about who lives rent-free in Rich Paul and Klutch Sports' mind. And Rich Paul saying Jordan, he could have never done that, of course, hypothetical argument. But first off, you don't want to get into a debate about things Jordan has done that LeBron still hasn't done entering year 21. Trust me, you don't want to go there. Secondly, why was Jordan the first thing on your mind after your so-called friend won his first championship in Cleveland? A little bizarre. And lastly, Jordan in the finals, he was never down 3-1 to come back from that deficit. And look, I'm gonna go there. The 2016 Warriors historically, winning 73 games, of course, highly impressive. But in terms of a playoff team built for the playoffs, they're kind of vastly overrated. As looking at the first two rounds, versus Houston and Portland, they went a combined 8-2. But versus OKC, got down 3-1. Before even making the NBA Finals, Golden State had already dropped 5 games in only 14 matches. The Warriors during the regular season didn't lose 5 games till game 53. And even more telling than that, for the entire 2016 playoffs, Golden State played 24 playoff games, losing 9 of them. For the entire 82-game season, Golden State only lost 9 games entering the playoffs. Again, that Golden State team in the playoffs, a tad overrated. And calling them the, quote, greatest team of all time, I reject every single day. Because the greatest teams in NBA history aren't down 3-1 to Oklahoma City in the West Finals. And if you think a team of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, really those two guys going solo, could get up 3-1 on the 2016 Warriors, why couldn't Michael Jordan's best Bulls team beat Golden State? And look, after the 2016 Finals, LeBron getting his 3rd ring, at that point it became abundantly clear he was chasing Michael Jordan. As in his own words, he said, quote, he was chasing the ghost that played in Chicago. Again, connecting the dots, that's obviously Michael Jordan living rent-free in LeBron's head. And when it comes to LeBron versus Jordan, since 2016, I've noticed a lot of small little things LeBron James kind of copies from Jordan or just downright takes from him and claims as his own. As Space Jam 2, of course, was copying Jordan, coming up short, and last year's playoffs, he had a Last Dance style documentary following the Lakers in case they won the championship. Also some more things he took from Jordan, the chalk toss, wearing 23, and even shooting free throws with his eyes closed. There is a pretty lengthy history of LeBron James trying to copy and emulate Michael Jordan. And when it comes to Klutch Sports, a lot of LeBron James pro media figures, the 2016 Finals, it kind of exposed a lot of things. Because with LeBron James, when he loses a Finals, what's the excuse, the caveat? Well, winning championships, it's a team accomplishment. But whenever LeBron wins a title, wins a championship, that narrative completely shifts, and it's, well, LeBron won, he won the championship, he's better than Jordan. Isn't that kind of funny how that works? LeBron loses, not his fault. LeBron wins, it's all about him. Pretty hypocritical coming from people who have absolutely no standards. As looking at someone like Kyrie Irving, how he played in the 2016 Finals, it's still underrated. As looking at the last 5 games of that series, he averaged 30.8 points, 4.4 assists, 4.2 boards, nearly 2 steals on 51, 47, and 95 splits. And looking back at Rich Paul, he had one more comment I really wanted to tackle. As I'm discussing the NBA bubble that had no travel, no fans, home court advantage, there's a 6-month break prior to the bubble, Rich Paul hyped up this championship as a legit championship and actually harder than a normal title. This kind of talk right here is 1000% yes man talk. Because Rich Paul, he's not a stupid individual. He's a very, very smart guy and much smarter than this. As to argue that Finals was somehow this great competitive series, it's yes man talk. As in Game 1 of this series, Bam, he got hurt, missed 2 full games in this series. Goran Dragic also missed 4 games. We had a 20-year-old Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Jay Crowder, and Kendrick Nunn as Jimmy's supporting cast. Look, winning championships always is a very impressive accomplishment, but the competition you face in the finals en route to the finals kinda should matter into how impressive and difficult that ring actually was. And one thing Rich Paul, ESPN will never talk about is how good Anthony Davis was in those finals, averaging 25 points, 11 boards, 2 blocks on ridiculous shooting splits. If you look at AD in the 2020 finals, how great he played, just that series alone, points, rebounds, blocks, field percentage, 3 percentage, and free throw percentage, AD from that series has higher averages than Scottie Pippen ever had in a single finals series. So when it comes to these bubble debates, teammate debates, I simply don't want to hear it. As that Heat team LeBron faced and beat was weaker than any team Jordan ever played in the NBA Finals. And going full circle with this video, when it comes to the Jordan versus LeBron debate, the media pushing it very, very heavily, I can guarantee you guys, the 2024 Team USA, they're going to be pushed as a more talented and better overall team than the 92 Dream Team. Of course, an outrageous take and totally disrespectful, but I'm just saying, mentally prepare yourself for these debates and for the media to push this heavily. As when it comes to LeBron versus Jordan, they have absolutely no shame of bending over backwards to twist a narrative in LeBron's favor. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.